For 75 years, Holt service trucks have hit the streets of central Iowa to help customers in need. It might be for plumbing, heating, cooling, a water heater, or the usual repairs and maintenance. We've done that with quality work from quality employees who bring passion and personality to the job. That's the Holt difference. It gives me great pride to see how our company has grown from the seeds of success my grandfather planted in 1947. That's why more and more central Iowans are saying, let Holt handle that.
Hi, this is Chris from Fireplace Superstore, and it's going to be an interesting patio furniture season this year. We have ordered a ton of merchandise, but due to supply chain issues, it's coming in a truckload at a time all summer long. If you want the best patio furniture, check early and check often. If you want to custom order your furniture, get in here as soon as you can to give your furniture the best chance to arrive this summer. Fireplace Superstore, Iowa's best patio furniture selection, just east of I-35 on Douglas Avenue.
Our year-end sales event is going on now at DeArmond Automotive, Knoxville.
With over 60 new vehicles in stock on the ground, you can take delivery now.
Every new Chevy, Buick, GMC, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, and all DeArmond certified used vehicles are tagged with one low sale price.
DeArmond Automotive Knoxville, DeArmondAuto.com.
Do you know what the best part about being a dog is? You can hear disaster before it even happens. You know what they say about disaster? Sometimes it can inspire a symphony. An honest day's work deserves an honest day's treat.
No extra charge.
And that is why we choose Honest Wrenches. No extra charge. And it's how service should.
And a happy Thursday evening to those of you who have tuned in to CISN TV. Got some CIML wrestling action, week one action here in central Iowa. We're live from Dowling Catholic High School, where Waukee Northwest and the Maroons going to do battle here opening week of high school wrestling here in the state of Iowa. I'm Cody Goodwin here, joined by Coach Keith Borness, and got a couple of teams here, Coach. Top 6 finished last year at the Class 3A state championships. A little bit of a different lineup just with the natural turnover that high school programs face year to year, but should be some really fun CIML action here to kick off the 22-23 season, yeah?
Well, it's exciting because it's wrestling, but it's going to be very exciting for both these squads as they continue through this season. Everybody wants to get a great start, and with both Dowling and Northwest, yes, they finished high in the state meet last year, but half their lineup is going to be new faces tonight. So we're going to have a lot of kids that are going to try and make names for themselves starting tonight.
Absolutely. Dowling had a lot of individual firepower that led to that 6th place team finish. Got a handful of those guys who are back again this year, like John King in the lighter weights, Carson Hagan up at 285, Ralston Rumley, returning state finalist, is back again. Waukee Northwest, a lot of firepower and a lot of collective team depth that took them to the state runner-up finish in Class 3A. A lot of key pieces back again this year for the Wolves, like Koufax Christensen, Carter Freeman, both returning state champs, as well as Cale Winter back at heavyweight, state medalist a year ago. Plenty of other well-known wrestlers that we're going to see throughout tonight's duel. Got to ask you, Coach, of all the weights that we're going to see tonight, and we're going to see hopefully 14 full matches between these two squads, which match most piques your interest as we near the first match here tonight?
Well, naturally, I'm very interested to see some of Northwest's early matches with Christensen and Freeman, as they're both ranked number 1. But the key match tonight that I think everybody has interest in is going to come late as we head to the heavyweight division at 285 with Cale Winter, senior from Northwest, a 2-time qualifier, 5th last year at 220. He's going to be taking on Carson Hagan, who was 4th last year in 22. Both these guys are ranked in the top 5. It is a number 3 Hagan versus a number 4 Winter.
And you know what's going to be interesting about that as well? You kind of touched on it. Early season, may not see everybody in a full 100% wrestling shape, and especially that heavyweight match. Those guys quite literally just got done with their football seasons not too long ago, right? Both guys, yes, very key offensive linemen for Northwest and Dowling.
Well, absolutely. You take a look at Cale Winter. He is an first-team All-State offensive lineman for the Wolves, and Carson Hagan, no stranger to the football field either, as he was a defensive lineman for the Maroons, made it to that semifinal game. Hagan is also not only being recruited as a football player, but being recruited as a wrestler, and some of the schools looking at him are going to be Grandview, Bemidji State, SMSU, so we're looking at 2 really good athletes, not just being big guys, but big, good athletic guys.
Absolutely. Carson Hagan, younger brother of Greg Hagan, 2-time NAIA national finalist for Grandview, was a state champion for the Maroons not too long ago. A lot of fun here coming up tonight. I think we're going to take a quick break as we do the intros here at Dowling Catholic High School. Then we'll be right back here. CISN TV, Cody Goodwin, Keith Borness here with you for Week 1 CIML Wrestling. We'll be right back.
When you need to conquer the drifts on your property, get the job done your way. The Western Defender Compact Snowplow. All the professional grade features in just the right size for your mid-sized pickup or SUV. Easy to attach and easy to use. Get the performance to plow like this and finish like this. Western, more jobs done faster.
Visit Truck Equipment Inc. today at truckequipmentinc.com.
For 75 years, Holt service trucks have hit the streets of central Iowa to help customers in need. It might be for plumbing, heating, cooling, a water heater, or the usual repairs and maintenance. We've done that with quality work from quality employees who bring passion and personality to the job. That's the Holt difference. It gives me great pride to see how our company has grown from the seeds of success my grandfather planted in 1947. That's why more and more central Iowans are saying, let Holt handle that.
Our year-end sales event is going on now at DeArmond Ford, Indianola.
Find out why more people are coming to DeArmond Ford, Indianola to buy their new Fords and certified pre-owned vehicles.
Come see the newest state-of-the-art dealership in the area. Every new Ford and pre-owned used is clearly tagged with one low price. Experience the DeArmond difference.
DeArmond Ford Indianola, DeArmondFord.com.
Mornings. They can be hectic.
Let's go!
So can your car, so to get a free pickup, drop-off, or delivery, head over to Honest Wrenches. And their loaner vehicles?
No extra charge.
Find your peace of mind with even more wonderful services.
Every vehicle that comes in gets a full visual inspection and a 5-year, 50,000-mile warranty. No extra charge.
Head on over to Honest Wrenches. No extra charge, and it's how service should be.
We all love a good win, however small or ordinary. Losing track of time, finding yourself with a few extra dollars in your pocket, soaking up the perfect Iowa day. These are the everyday delights and small victories that make us smile. These are the moments that connect us all as Iowans. And these are the moments that, more often than not, start with Iowa's farm families and the corn they're growing. Because when corn grows Iowa, Iowans win.
For 75 years, Holt service trucks have hit the streets of central Iowa to help customers in need. It might be for plumbing, heating, cooling, a water heater, or the usual repairs and maintenance. We've done that with quality work from quality employees who bring passion and personality to the job. That's the Holt difference. It gives me great pride to see how our company has grown from the seeds of success my grandfather planted in 1947. That's why more and more central Iowans are saying, let Holt handle that.
Hi, this is Chris from Fireplace Superstore, and it's going to be an interesting patio furniture season this year. We have ordered a ton of merchandise, but due to supply chain issues, it's coming in a truckload at a time all summer long. If you want the best patio furniture, check early and check often. If you want to custom order your furniture, get in here as soon as you can to give your furniture the best chance to arrive this summer. Fireplace Superstore, Iowa's best patio furniture selection, just east of I-35 on Douglas Avenue.
Our year-end sales event is going on now at DeArmond Automotive, Knoxville.
With over 60 new vehicles in stock on the ground, you can take delivery now.
Every new Chevy, Buick, GMC, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, and all DeArmond certified used vehicles are tagged with one low sale price.
DeArmond Automotive Knoxville, DeArmondAuto.com.
Welcome back to Dowling Catholic High School, here for some Week 1 CIML wrestling action between the Maroons and Waukee Northwest. Cody Goodwin here along with Coach Keith Borness. Going to guide you through the evening tonight. It's fine Thursday, December 1. Like you mentioned earlier, Coach, before the break. First night out, first competition. Everybody's really excited, want to kind of be at their best. Going to be kind of interesting to see what we see from both of these teams tonight. I know we were picking out matches and guys that we're excited to see, but first time out, I know as most coaches, always cautiously optimistic going into the first competition because you just don't know until they step out there, right?
Absolutely. You're in a situation where when the season ends when it ended last year, everybody starts thinking about, okay, how are things going to fit into play next year? Where do we keep kids in the lineup? How are things going to work? And then all of a sudden you start looking at, well, we're going to have a couple of holes here. We got guys that have graduated, moved on to the college levels, and just on with their lives. Now we have to see really what our program is all about, because we have younger guys that have been with us, but they haven't had the opportunity to prove themselves. There are going to be about 7 matches tonight where guys are going to be introduced to the world of wrestling at the varsity level here in the state of Iowa. It's going to be a lot of fun to see how they answer that call. Absolutely.
Going to be a lot of firepower on the mat tonight between both schools. 10 total ranked wrestlers. Going to see a couple of them go head-to-head tonight at 120 pounds. So right here coming up the second match, and at heavyweight later in the night. But we begin the night at 113 pounds. Dowling Catholic, that is Charlie Kelly for Waukee Northwest. Judah Noble, pair of juniors here, kick off tonight's duel. And immediately, Kelly's in on a shot, takes him feet to back. Excuse me, not Kelly, Noble in on that shot. We're a little high up here, and I struggle with colors sometimes. But Got a 4-0 lead here for Noble. Waukee Northwest is up and underway.
One of the things that both coaches talked about was trying to make that name for themselves. And right off the kicker, we got two guys new-ish to the lineup, and Noble jumped all over it.
Always eases in the first match of the season when you're able to go feet to back like that. Really nice finish on the takedown and even better follow-through to work up the body and take him for some back points. But Kelly up and out makes it 4-1 here as we hit the midway mark of the first period. Let's see what happens.
Noble had a great attempt there on a low double. He's got those long arms, was able to get in and reach one of the ankles. But Kelly did a great job fighting that off, but he's in a little bit of trouble here. Another low ankle pick, and Noble is in business.
Noble really excellent there. 2 takedowns. Both of them have resulted in extra back points. Really nice transition wrestling. He ends up getting the fall there. In a minute, 22 seconds, already Wolves up 6-0 on Dowling to start the night.
Great job by Noble getting started and finishing that match. One of the things that, as coaches, that you always talk about, if we want to have good team success, you got to get those bonus points.
Excellent start there for Waukee Northwest. 6-0 leaders now. We head to 120. One of the featured bouts here. Really intrigued to watch this one here. Waukee Northwest top-ranked Koufax Christensen, returning state champ. Going to wrestle Eric Kahn, AAU place winner, highly credentialed freshman coming in for Dowling Catholic. So maybe not the exact matchup I was kind of thinking of. I think I was looking more closer at 132.
Yeah.
We're still working our way into regular season shape here on the call for CISN.
But when you take a look at it, we understand that Koufax Christensen is a great wrestler. He's got second his freshman year. He was the champ last year. He's going against a very highly touted freshman that Coach Finch is really excited about, but still unproven when it comes to high school wrestling.
And he's going to learn quite a few things tonight already. Koufax in quick. A couple of takedowns already, up for a 4-1 lead now 30 seconds into the first period. And you're seeing, not just the age difference, but a little bit of just natural maturation experience there. Koufax doing a really good job working that cross wrist tilt. Only got one swipe there. But immediately, talk transition wrestling in that first match. We're seeing Koufax do it a little bit here, throwing a leg in, trying for back points.
Did a nice job getting that crossface in with this leg in. One of the things that I'm really impressed with Khan is the fact that he's not shying away. It might be dominated right now, but he's not shying away. He's not afraid to take some shots, and he was able to fight off some back points the first time. But Christensen really doing a job taking control.
Tall opening task here for Eric Kahn. Exciting young freshman for Dowling Catholic, but Koufax Christensen, clearly one of Iowa's best wrestlers, and he's putting on a little bit of a clinic here in this first period.
Yeah, we have no idea just how good Eric Kahn can be, and we have to think, people like Koufax Christensen and Carter Freeman, they all started as freshmen too, and they might not have had their preliminary match, but wow. Great job by Kahn getting out there and trying to fight through it. But, Christensen, a lot to take early on.
Pretty good at wrestling. Tough first assignment there for Eric Kahn. But Koufax Christensen does what you would expect a returning state champion to do. Quick first period pin puts the Wolves up 12-0 now after 2 weights. We're moving on to 126 pounds.
They always talk about the flip. Who's going to present their wrestler first and all these different things based on where you starting at 113 pounds tonight. And so I asked both coaches before we got started, are you in a situation where the flip is really important to you? And both of them said, no. We are who we are. We're just going to go out and wrestle.
One of the perks of, week 1 wrestling here. Up now at 126, Jack Ryland for Waukee Northwest. Dowling Catholic Sev Soto. Ryland, a junior. A little bit of championship pedigree in those bloodlines. Younger brother of Ben Ryland, who was a state champ wrestler at heavyweight for Waukee Northwest last year. Sev Soto, a sophomore, 25 wins last year as a freshman. And away we go here, third match of the night.
And Soto in on a double, switching off to that single. He's got to pull the head out to get some control here.
Good use of the leg there from Ryland to kind of or his leg to clamp down on Soto's head there, make it difficult so he can't clear up.
And Soto does a nice job, pulled the head out, and he is up for 2 on the takedown.
There, and you see Soto grabbing the arm there of Ryland, trying to connect for some back points right out of the gate.
Doing a nice job as he's getting the count now.
He may get more than just back points. Sev Soto scooped the head. And just like that, 59-second pin for Sev Soto puts Dowling Catholic on the board. 3 matches, 3 pins. It's the Wolves with a 12-6 lead. Let's take a look at this pin there for Sev Soto. Did a really nice job of just connecting on that elbow, grabbing it after he was able to pop his head out for the takedown, and then just climbed the body, able to scoop the head, settled in for the pin. Just under a minute.
And a great job, not only with that elbow, but getting that ankle pulled up high to finish. They always talk about having tables, being a table out there. You take one leg away, you take them that direction. In that case, Soto was able to remove 2 legs and stack him up for the pin.
Excellent stuff there. 3 matches, 3 pins. It's the Wolves that are up 12-6 here on Dowling Catholic early on. Now we're moving on to 132 pounds, another returning state champion for Waukee Northwest. Carter Freeman, a 2-time state champ, 2 state titles in as many years in high school, tracking toward that elusive, maybe potentially 4-time state champ, but he's more worried about his 3rd one coming up this season. He's got Dowling Catholic's John King here at 132. These guys are actually club teammates at Seabolt Wrestling Academy. John King, state qualifier, closing in on 50 career wins for the Maroons. And when you see these guys, from the same club that wrestle each other a lot in the offseason, you wonder, they meet each other during the regular season. How does that familiarity play into a match?
Well, it plays in quite a bit because you can start anticipating what you're going to get.
Yeah, just the familiarity and the feel. And
are they a right leg lead? Are they a left leg lead? Are they going to be attacking low? Or they're going to be a thrower? But regardless of the familiarity, something that Carter Freeman is not familiar with is losing. He's only had 1 career loss, and it was to the number 1 ranked kid in the nation, a guy by the name of Lemley.
Sergio Lemley out of Mount Carmel in Chicago. Freeman looked like he had maybe gotten behind there on the edge, but ref said no go. They restart in the middle. We're about midway through the first period here at 132 pounds. Yeah, Carter Freeman, 85-1 career record through 2 seasons, and recently announced his commitment to the University of Northern Iowa.
I'd have to think that the Cedar Falls area would be very happy to have a pickup like this.
I can tell you for a fact, Doug Schwab pretty pleased with a pretty big Central Iowa wrestler deciding to make the trip all the way up to Cedar Falls, but hey, good as Carter Freeman is, John King not backing down here. 25 seconds left in this first period. We're still scoreless. Gone out of bounds a trio of times. We're going to restart here.
Brent Shazik is the official tonight on the mat. He has done several high school meets and part of the state officiating crew. Did not like how they were going to start and came out and gave a caution.
Underhook there for Freeman, goes for the trip. They go back out of bounds again. Northwest crowd wants a stall call.
As good as John King looks, he's not shying away. He's aggressive. I'm still pretty impressed with how Carter Freeman here we are.
Took a lot of ground there in that first period. Did a lot of the action, trying to set up some of his shots. King doing a good job evading them, but give up ground like that enough. Eventually, the ref will reward the other guy. No stall calls in that first period, so we'll see what this second one does. Freeman up quick to his feet. Only 8 seconds elapsed as they go back out of bounds. We'll restart in the center.
We're looking at a 0-0 score right now, but Carter Freeman certainly doesn't feel like he's not in control.
Up and out there, just 3 seconds out of the restart. Carter Freeman escape gives him a 1-0 lead early here in the second period.
Both guys trying to get a little inside control as they start to mesh in and tie up with one another.
This is kind of where that familiarity, now that you've wrestled, about 2.5 minutes here. What are you trying to set up? What do you know? What do you think he's going to do? Out of bounds there, and there's the first stall call on John King. I'd wondered if that was going to be on the way.
No. Just hasn't had his action moving forward. They say there's only 3 positions you can be in a match, and that's you're on offense, you're on defense, or you're neutral. And as much as they were neutral, it certainly appeared that Carter Freeman was on the offense.
Here he is taking ground again. You're seeing John King backing up towards, tries for a duck, doesn't happen. Freeman, he's using that underhook not only to try and set up his own offense, but it did really did wonders there defending that quick strike attack from John King. A couple of juniors here talked plenty about Freeman's credentials, but John King, returning state medalist himself, Class 3A. No easy feat, especially nowadays in Iowa high school wrestling. Arguably as good as it's ever been, with national champs, All-Americans, even a couple of world medalists walking around the state of Iowa this year. Going to make for an exciting high school wrestling season. John King trying to connect on a headlock. Freeman able to keep square. They go back out of bounds, and we'll restart. 17 seconds here left in the second period.
Well, that just really showed the balance and core strength that Carter Freeman has. It's one thing to have balance as an athlete. It's another thing to have mat balance and really know where you are.
Good mat awareness.
Yes.
Under 10 now. Still scoreless. And I tell you what, if you're John King early in the year, if you'd have told him only down 1-0 and he's got a chance to escape to tie the match to start the third period, I think he might take that.
Yeah.
We're calling an audible here. Looks like you're going to go neutral, so Freeman will take his 1-0 lead into the third period. Could be either confidence in what you're feeling from neutral after 2 periods if you're John King, or nod of respect to Carter Freeman, who exceptional on top, known for pinning a guy or 2 in his day.
Yeah. I don't know a lot of people that would like to say, oh, yeah, I'll start in that down position against Carter Freeman.
Excellent shot there from Carter Freeman. Single leg comes up, gets behind, rips the hip down. Excellent takedown there for Carter Freeman. 3-0 lead now with 84 seconds left in this match. Freeman says, I want to go on our feet again, and we'll restart.
You kind of wonder if this last 120 is going to be kind of a takedown clinic by Carter Freeman.
That's one of the things to monitor. Not a lot of points scored in the first couple of periods, but we talked about, Freeman taking ground and trying to set up his attacks. And, here he is again continuing to charge forward even as we enter the final minute of this match. You wonder if that's going to start really wearing on John King, and can Freeman maybe, he got 1 takedown. How many more can he get here in the final minute?
And not only that, he's got that ace in his pocket where he's already had 1 stall called against John King. So King can't continue to move backward. He has to come into it. And there he goes Freeman again as he ducks down.
Freeman in on a shot. Single. King tries to kick away. Doing a good job defending here. Back to the edge again. Freeman trying to go out of bounds. Ref's going to tag him with a flea in the mat. So Carter Freeman not 2, but he'll get a point out of that exchange. 4-1 lead with 31 seconds left.
Yeah, a free point on that because he's enjoyed being on his feet and he didn't have to give one up to stay up there.
There's King with a nice shot there, but it might be too little too late unless he's got something we aren't quite aware of. But, yeah, that's the risk you take when you get to the edge there. And, you're trying to defend, but you're also trying to maybe get out of bounds to get back to the center before too much time goes. And didn't pay it off there. Freeman tacks on 1 final takedown here in the third period for a 6-1 lead. Looks like it's going to be a 6-1 win for Carter Freeman at 132 pounds.
A great job there by Carter Freeman and, a great fight by John King. But this is one of those examples where the score really didn't get out of hand, but you could certainly see that Carter Freeman was in control the entire time.
Absolutely, yes. So that's 3 wins in the first 4 matches here for Waukee Northwest. They take a 15-6 lead over host Dowling Catholic. We're moving up to 138 pounds. Waukee Northwest, that's Lincoln Hutt, sophomore. A little bit of varsity experience last year. Dowling Catholic coming up, 138 pounds. Zeb Fitzgerald, a junior.
Talking about two guys that now want to try and be into that position where we make a name for ourselves. Unproven, but with something to prove.
I like that phrasing. We're underway here, 138. Fifth match of the evening. Both guys returning varsity experience last year. And, I tell you what, if you're Dowling, it's one of those matches that you might want to win to try and inch your way back into this duel.
Yes, these swing matches, if you will, are the ones that can either keep it close or really cause the separation in the team scoring.
Still got plenty of firepower coming from both sides tonight. We'll see. Still coming up here, Waukee Northwest have some returning experience coming up at 45 and 52. Dowling, 220 heavyweight. And when we flip back over to 106, closer to the end of the duel. So, again, if you're the Maroons, not only is this important just to inch your way back into the duel, but, if you can do enough damage to give, a couple of those heavyweights and your 6-pounder a little bit of a chance to maybe bring you all the way back home, could be interesting. So, but we're about a minute in, scoreless here between Zeb Fitzgerald and Lincoln Hutt.
Both guys doing a great job feeling their opponent out, but nobody has established the inside control yet and set up a shot.
Tell you what, man, watch a lot of wrestling this time of year, and first month of the season, I say first month of the season, that's the first week of the high school season. Been watching a lot of college wrestling. The difference, maybe this is just a me thing, 3-minute first period to a 2-minute first period, noticeable tonight. Noticeable tonight. That 2 minutes goes quick.
It does go quick. And, we have Fitzgerald doing a great job forcing Hutt to go backward. And we saw that in an earlier match here tonight. We're wondering if Mr. Chozik will start talking to people about let's not be moving backward.
Yeah, he was a little lenient there in that 132-pound match between Freeman and John King. Wasn't until the second period that he finally tagged John King with a stall call, while Freeman did a lot of the work there in that first period. But see if he's consistent with that throughout the night. End of the first period ends scoreless. Looks like Zeb Fitzgerald's going to start the second period down, and away we go.
Nice job by Hutt bringing Fitzgerald back down to the mat. A lot to talk about this year as far as the expansion of the qualifiers for the state meet, and then also how things happen now on the edge of the mat versus how it's been the last couple of years with making sure that you have your 4 points of contact inside the circle. And so we've only seen one takedown close to the edge of the mat tonight. We'll see how if we do end up with points scored near the edge of the mat tonight or not.
And it'd also be interesting to kind of see, because trends like that, usually team-wide thing, right? Mm-hmm. It's not just one wrestler who focuses on the edge of the mat. It's usually a thing that the coach likes to impress on everybody up and down the lineup. So be kind of curious to see as the season unfolds, which teams are, maybe a little bit more strategic or a little bit more tactical on the edge of the mat. Haven't had to see a ton of it tonight, right? First 3 matches all ended in pins, and then had a nice 6-1 win there from Carter Freeman in the 4th match. So, but like you said, he, a lot of edge wrestling there, just kind of taking ground against John King in that match. And seeing a little bit of it here in the second match, midway through the second period now. Fitzgerald, that escape gave him a 1-0 lead. But they're doing a lot of their wrestling there in the center of the mat. Yep. And as I say that, of course, they go to the edge, and Zeb's in on a shot. They go out of bounds, and we'll restart. But, yeah, no, you're right. Between that and the state tournament expanding, how do you feel about that? 24 qualifiers per weight for all 3 classes now.
I certainly understand the reasoning behind it. It is not uncommon to walk into a district meet and find the top 3 wrestlers.
We saw that at a few different districts last year alone.
Right.
A lot of really good wrestlers got left out because they, just district draws, and maybe they just didn't bring their A game that day, right?
That's right. And there's been several times. Oh,
we got a headlock here from Lincoln Hutt, right in the center of the mat. And he settles in for the pin there. 3 minutes, 45 seconds there. Really big win there for Waukee Northwest. Their third pin of the night, third pin in the first 5 matches. Wolves on a roll here, 21-6 to start this duel against Dowling Catholic.
Yes, and in these swing matches like that, I mean, it looked like a very well-contested match, pretty evenly matched until Hutt was able to get that headlock. And so it kind of, we're not only looking at, you at home are looking at just what's going on the mat, but I'm also taking a look at what the coaches are doing, because we have truly a veteran coach in Chad Volmecki over at Waukee Northwest versus a second-year coach in
Ryek Finch.
Yeah, he's done a great job. Both of them have great wrestling pedigrees, great credentials, but the coaching experience itself certainly had some disparity.
A lot of action here to start off this match at 145 pounds. Dom Rubino from Waukee Northwest, returning state medalist. Vinny Bergtinoli for Dowling Catholic. Already some high-flying action. Looked like it was illegal slam. I think that's what we'll call it. I'm not sure if that's the exact phrasing, but Rubino with a 1-0 lead after that sequence. And immediately back in on a little bit of a Merkle position for a takedown. 3-0 lead for Dom Rubino. We're 30 seconds in here at 145.
A lot of action, and not only is there action on the mat, but when the fans get involved, you know that things are intense.
We have a great crowd here tonight. Waukee Northwest traveled across town here, and Dowling Catholic on the home side. Both schools very well represented. Man, we got all sorts of action here. Rubino doing a good job throwing some boots in and controlling wrists. He got at least 2 swipes.
And still has control.
Still has control. Trying to crank over a half Nelson, see if he can get some more. Not sure he's going to get it, but...
Yeah, at this point, he might have to change his hold and start over.
For those who don't know, ref, when they award back points, they will, or near fall, as they're sometimes called, he'll hold them until the wrestler releases the hold or the position that he used to score the points, and then he'll award them. Or, in this particular situation, Berg-Natoli had to stop for blood, so the ref stopped the match, and looks like Rubino got all 3 back points there. 6-0 lead with 43 seconds left in this first period.
And this is a great opportunity to talk a little bit about how we are awarded back points. He only had the count to get 2 points, but because it was stopped because of injury or blood, he gets awarded the 3 back points. And same thing if you were in a situation where you had the count for 3 back points and it stops because of injury or whatnot, you're getting awarded the 4th point.
The more you know.
And you learned it right here on CISN.
If that doesn't get you to turn in every Thursday this wrestling season, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what will.
That's right. It gives you a little bit of an opportunity to talk about the coaches here.
You had hit on that before all the action unfolded there in that last 45 seconds of this match.
Quick. You take a look at Dowling, Ryek Finch. He's got quite the pedigree and started out in Arizona.
Arizona Prep was a national champ, I believe, as a high school wrestler.
Yep.
Originally made his way out here to wrestle for Iowa State. Ended up wrestling for Grandview, had a spectacular career there for the Vikings, was part of some of their first teams that were winning NAIA team titles.
Yeah. 2-time national champ there. He was also an NCAA qualifier when he was at Iowa State.
Very talented wrestler. Other side, Chad Volmecki from Waukee Northwest has assembled quite a program over there in Waukee. First with the Warriors, and then when the new school opened up, Chad took a lot of his staff over to the new school at Northwest. Very first season last year, Northwest took second at the Class 3A state championships behind Southeast Polk. It was a tremendous 3-team race between the Rams, the Wolves, and Waverly Shell Rock. Rams ended up winning team title by 3 points. Waukee Northwest had a spectacular Saturday night, though, 4 for 4 in the state finals.
Right, and that's one of the things that Coach Volmecki has been able to do over the course of his career is, they get off to a good start. I mean, he has an 18-3 record in his years at Northwest, but he's got 218 career wins. As nice as the seasons typically begin for him, he finds a way to really bring out the best of them, of his athletes when he gets into the conference, district, and state runs. And
they've last few years, the Volmecki led, and Brett Yankovic, his top assistant, does a really nice job, and really that entire staff over there at Northwest, that they were at Waukee. Consistently one of those trophy teams in the large class. I know 2018 when Fort Dodge won the team title that year, Waukee was right there, and it wasn't until Saturday night that that Fort Dodge team was able to clinch it. And fast forward to last year, same thing, Northwest and Polk all the way down to the end. Northwest needed a next to perfect Saturday night and a little bit of help if they wanted to win it, and they had the perfect Saturday night, just didn't quite get the little bit of help that they thought might be coming, and just a tremendous program. And here they are here again, ranked number 7 in IA Russell's preseason rankings, 5 ranked wrestlers, many more probably going to enter the rankings as the season kind of ebbs and flows. And
as the unknowns become known.
Yeah.
And, one of the things that I had thought about was, Northwest, one of the newer schools in Class 3A wrestling, and Dowling, one of the older schools, both already have, Dowling's had a tremendous wrestling tradition through its entirety. And Coach Volmecki, in just his second year at Northwest, already they are a mainstay in the top 10.
Absolutely. And we saw, very impressive opening first year for Ryak Finch here at Dowling Catholic. He, immediately came in, 6th place team finish at the Class 3A state championships. And, on top of that, a lot of individual success kind of fueled that, right? They had 3 wrestlers in the state finals last year. One of them, Evan Frost, state champ at 132. Jacob Frost finished runner-up at 138. And then Ralston Rumley, who we'll see later tonight, state finalist at 220. So to come in and see that immediate success, that's going to get the community kind of rallied around you. That's going to get kids a little bit more interested that maybe wouldn't be normally. I'm really excited to kind of see what he does with his program here into year 2 with the Maroons. We just wrapped up this long first period because of some extra blood time here at 145 pounds. Dom Rubino from Northwest holds an 8-0 lead over Dowling Catholic's Bergnatoli. And, we mentioned very excited for the heavyweight matchup between Waukee Northwest Cale Winter and Dowling's Carson Hagen, and how be kind of interested to see how those guys are doing just a few weeks removed from football season. But Vinny Bergtanoli, I'm sorry if I'm butchering this name tonight, guys, also played for Dowling Catholic's football team, which made the Class 5A state semifinals.
And he comes in unranked and was kind of taking it to him, but then all of a sudden we have a really big takedown as Dominic Rubino.
Well, it was takedown technique, but it actually goes on the books as a reversal. So.
Right. As he ends up...
excellent execution, nonetheless, for Dom Rubino. Now a 10-0 lead as we hit the midway point of the second period.
Brought him down high off the mat, but because he came down with him, not a slam.
Yeah, unlike that sequence early in the first period, it was a slam, so it resulted in a point for Rubino. Rubino full control there of everything going on, so the ref called it clean. And if you're Dom Rubino, returning state medalist, you're feeling and wrestling pretty good here in this first couple of periods. Looks like he's, be careful with that shoulder here as he's trying to go for a turn, score some points here. You're obviously thinking bonus points. You're in major decision territory. Can you inch closer to getting the technical fall? Can you operate a hold that maybe will score you the pin? A few different options here. Be kind of curious to see which one he ultimately goes for.
I'm kind of interested what Mr. Chazek saw when he stopped action here. I didn't know if it was a potentially dangerous. He didn't really give the sign for it, but I also saw him go over and pick up maybe some type of stuffing for blood and got that removed. But regardless, we starting in referee's position with Bertignoli down.
And that's just really heads-up wrestling there from Dom Rubino. Not getting any swipes there, but, maybe if the ref was in position just a tick earlier, maybe he gets a couple. But Dom Rubino doing a really good job kind of executing a quick crab ride there to put Bertignoli in danger. he's going to get the 2 back points there right at the end of the second period. Check out this replay again. This was the reversal early in the period. Kind of scrambling around there on the mat. Then Rubino gets into a shot position, able to pick him up and finish. Looked like a takedown, goes on the books as a reversal. Excellent start to the second period. Now here we are beginning the third, 12-0 lead for Dom Rubino.
Starting out there in the neutral position, and both guys locked in here ear to ear, trying to get some heavy hands, see if they can start wearing each other out.
Yeah, if you're Berg-Tonoli, probably wanting to slow it down a little bit, see if you can execute some of your holds, your offense to chip away at that big lead. If you're Rubino, I think you got to keep the foot on the gas here, right? 12-0, and just like that, immediate underhook to a headlock, gets the 2 takedown, then ref calls out of bounds. Really good edge wrestling there from Dom Rubino. 14-0 lead now with 83 seconds left in this match.
Yeah, and, a year ago, we're looking at them getting some back points because there were at least 2 points of contact still inside. But if both shoulder blades are out of the circle when you're on your back, that is known for all 4 points of stability, and they're going to be called out of bounds.
14-0 lead here for Dom Rubino. 1 point away from a technical superiority or a tech fall win. Would net him 5 team points. Otherwise, if the score holds here over the final 60 seconds, would go down as a major decision. So there's 4 team points. When you hear wrestling coaches refer to bonus points, that's what they're talking about. You can win by a regular decision, 8 points or less, or 7 points or less, That nets you 3 team points. But Dom Rubino is going to score some back points, maybe more. Runs a half in on Bergnatoli, settles in for the pin. 5 minutes, 24 seconds. Another bonus point victory, another win by fall for Waukee Northwest. That is a 27-6 lead here after 6 waits.
And as you talked earlier about those swing matches, either being able to keep you close or the separation really starting to happen. And at this point, Waukee Northwest is starting to pull away in large fashion, and they got another ranked wrestler, 152 pounds, Logan Stotts, coming up for the Wolves.
Coming into 152, like you mentioned, Logan Stotts here, Waukee Northwest, against John Swift from 152. Logan Stotts, returning state qualifier, multiple-time state qualifier.
I talked with Logan before the match, and I was trying to get clarification on qualifying. He's been a two-time qualifier, but he was injured last year and didn't qualify. But he certainly looks like he sure could have been, as he starts off with 2-point takedown and 2 near fall.
Immediate takedown, and talked about it earlier, transition wrestling right immediately to a turn for a 4-0 lead, and there he is running a bar for more back points. Possibly another fall here. Waukee Northwest very, very good here to start the night. 36-second pin for Logan Stotts. The 5th pin of the night for Waukee Northwest.
Now we're getting into that point in the lineup where Dowling kind of really needs to make a move here. The problem being they're going to give up 6 points at 170 pounds because they are not going to present a wrestler at 170 pounds. One of the questions was, would they take Max Dirks and move him up to 170 and then bring somebody else in to wrestle at 160 against the freshman Bryce Williams in his first year and completely an unknown? But they chose not to.
Up to 160 now. Like you mentioned, Bryce Williams, freshman for Waukee Northwest. Max Dirks, a senior. Another football player for Dowling. They got a lot of those. Really successful year on the gridiron for the Maroons, Max Dirks. Integral part of that Dowling defense. Here we are 30 seconds in, and tell you what, Coach, you don't see a ton of freshmen wrestle this heavy when you think of varsity lineups and CIML here in Central Iowa, large class. You know, you might see a handful here and there, but, you know, usually if you see freshmen in the starting lineup, usually a little bit of the lighter weights. So probably says a little bit about Bryce Williams' overall talent level that he's able to make not just any lineup, a Waukee Northwest starting lineup at 160 as a freshman.
Absolutely.
Even though Max Dirks is able to use some counter offense there for the first takedown and a 2-0 lead.
Yes, but it wasn't easy. And, you know, when you talk about young wrestlers at bigger weights, we do know that there's a young man over at City High who's kind of made a living at the upper weights, and he's looking forward to a good senior year now, I believe. He's a senior.
I believe you're referring to Ben Keeter. His freshman year, he's a senior now, but his freshman year, there were actually, you know, he won his freshman state title over another freshman, Tate Nocteboard from Linn-Mar. Those two, very clearly two of Iowa's best high school wrestlers and two of the best wrestlers in the country. I'm sure we'll probably see and hear plenty about those guys as the year progresses.
Max Dirks certainly in control of this match here as we continue at 160 pounds.
Bryce
Williams doing a great job fighting off the potential back points.
Dirks doing a really good job riding parallel, but keeping Bryce Williams flat. Got no riding time for it, but a nice ride out there to end the first period. A 2-0 lead for Max Dirks here at 160 pounds.
Yeah, so for those of you that have been watching a lot of college wrestling, you made your reference to riding time, certainly in the college ranks, but in the high school, there's no such thing. Nice little Granby attempt by Bryce Williams, but Dirks did a great job following. Still in control in the offensive position on the top.
And Bryce Williams, he's on bottom, maybe not a ton of action, and as I say that, he comes to his feet, and ultimately Granby rolls.
Right into trouble.
Well, sort of trouble. Took time for Dirks to settle in, and there's the pin. 2 minutes, 38 seconds.
You know, Williams did a great job initiating that Granby roll, and he came up and ended up getting the whizzer on, but they were both in a position, they weren't hip to hip, and so Dirks was able to turn that Granby, or that roll with the whizzer into a half Nelson and just drop Bryce Williams to the mat.
And that's kind of an example there of, you know, hey, Max Dirks is a senior. He's wrestled a few years now. He kind of knows a few different positions and what it feels like when you're out there live. Nice little lesson there for Bryce Williams early. I thought he competed well there, was able to get to his feet. Just a little bit of wrong positioning there on that Granby roll, and Dirks made him pay. Pin for Dowling Catholic.
And that was one of the things that both coaches initiated in their conversations before the meet tonight was, in these swing matches, in our unknowns, our goal is to be aggressive but be in the right position. And that's right there. Bryce Williams just got a little bit out
I'll tell you what, if you're going to make a mistake like that, better to do it on December 1 than February 1, right?
Absolutely.
So we actually had an open weight at 170. Waukee Northwest took that win by forfeit. Isaac Volmecki came out to accept the forfeit. So we're back up to 182 pounds now. Braden Williams, sophomore from Waukee Northwest. Dowling Catholic, Evan Pollard, senior, turning state qualifier.
And this is one of those matches where Dowling really would like to get back into the win column here. Having given up 6 at 170 just does not help the team scoring.
Pollard strikes quick there with a takedown, a little bit of heavy hips action there. Quick go behind, 2-0 lead. About a minute 19 left here in this first period. And you talked about those swing matches, and you know the handful that we've seen thus far have gone Waukee Northwest way, and you know not only are they winning the swing matches, they're scoring bonus points in those swing matches, and that's why we've got a 39-12 lopsided lead here for the Wolves. You know, 9 matches in. Big return there for Evan Pollard. Does well controlling it and catches a wrist on his way down. Let's see if he can use it.
One of the things that we always talk about with our young wrestlers, and then as you move into your high school and things like that, but working with a lot of junior high wrestlers, we tell them, hey, if you're going to return somebody to the mat, you got to get their hips up, get their feet off the mat. Well, Pollard certainly put on a clinic for getting hips high and getting their feet off the mat.
Well, and the other thing that does, and we saw Pollard take advantage of it, and he's still working those wrists a little bit. When you're able to pop their hips up, they're going to catch themselves on the mat, and when they do that, they usually post their arm. How quick are you to go ahead and grab that wrist and try to go to your offense? We saw Pollard grab it. Looks like he's trying to run a bar here. Williams doing a good job trying to defend there, holding strong. So we're 20 seconds left, but Pollard going back to it. See if he can score some points here. He's got a few swipes here before the end of the first period.
Still holding it, too.
Pollard settles in for the fall. 1 minute, 56 seconds. Another pin there for Dowling Catholic. We've seen a lot of falls tonight. Welcome to week 1.
Yes, and welcome to Iowa High School Wrestling in Central Iowa, where it is right now. Central Iowa Athletics is really showing some dominance across the state.
Pretty loud walkout music here as we move to 195 pounds. We got Nelly blaring through the speakers as Dowling Catholic's Owen Pins makes his way to the mat. Sophomore, another football player back here wrestling this winter. Looks like we've got a goof up at the head table here on the side of Northwest.
Well, one of the things that ended up happening was Coach Volmecki brought in weighed in two guys at 195 pounds, Abe Parker and also Cole Seats were both weighed in, and they're going to go with Abe Parker for Northwest. So a couple of sophomores, 195 pounds. At this point, I expect great wrestling action to continue.
We're underway here at 195. Owen Pins, great name if you're a wrestler.
Yes. Is that a verb?
Owen Pins. Not unlike the Dubuque Hempstead family, Joe Pins and Mitchell Pins. Excellent wrestlers there from the northeast side of the state. Large class team. It's going to have some dudes when we get to the state tournament come February. We'll probably see them around as the season unfolds. You know, you mentioned a lot of the talent here in Central Iowa. CIML, very well known for wrestling, and it's going to be that way again this season. When you look around, Southeast Polk, obviously, a lot of firepower back from last year and a handful of talented freshmen we're going to see in the lineup right away. Johnston, tremendous team that they have there this season with Coach Aaron Tecklenburg at the helm again. Ankeny routinely has had a lot of really good wrestlers. We've mentioned Waukee Northwest and how good they've been. Waukee going to have wrestlers, really, really talented wrestlers that are going to be in the mix again. Valley, Dowling's here as well. A lot of really good wrestling in the CIML and a lot of great athletes here, as we just saw there. Excellent shot initially by Abe Parker. Good defense there by Owen Pins, and then great counter wrestling there from Abe Parker. Really not even wrestling there, just good awareness to kind of hip heist and cover for the takedown as he takes a 2-0 lead here late in the first period.
And you know, the success coming and not giving up on it, just continuing the momentum and the roll. One of the things that a lot of times coaches are going to put into their practice is trying to disorient them and then force them to come up and make a shot. And that is certainly something that Abe Parker was able to do there.
Pins hits a late escape here, so it'll be 2-1 Abe Parker at the end of the first period. You know, those of us that run in wrestling circles long enough, we like to joke that, you know, what do you hear when you go to a youth wrestling tournament? You'll always hear a coach in the corner, you know, wrestle here, wrestle through that. It's kind of what Abe Parker did, though, and it's really an important trait when it comes to, you know, some of these high-level wrestling that you're going to see, you know, when we go down the stretch of the season, January, February. The guys that continue to wrestle through positions to try and win the next position, ultimately going to score the necessary points to win those big matches, right? We saw a little bit of a small glimpse there from Abe Parker in that sequence in the first period.
And they always talk about some unorthodoxness in people's wrestling. And, you know, there really wasn't, we don't really even call that a specific takedown, just a takedown.
And that's kind of the fun part of high school wrestling, right? You're going to have, you know, the Carter Freemans, the Kofak Christensens, the guys that do this year-round. And then you're going to have guys like Abe Parker, who looks like he's figuring things out as he goes here. Really good showing so far here through period and a half. Looks like he's about to get dinged for stalling for riding parallel a little too much, but clearly he's gaining enough confidence to go ahead and take that shot there in that first period and, follow through and able to cover for the takedown. It's the fun part about watching some of these young guys wrestle right out of the gate.
And you made a comment earlier about some of the wrestling clubs that are out there, and we saw two guys going against each other earlier tonight. They're in the same wrestling club, but what are there, 16 really competitive wrestling clubs in the state of Iowa now that are feeding into the Iowa high schools? It just kind of shows, the love that these guys have for the sport. And I was trying to find some of the rankings earlier this week and ran into an article on IA Wrestling about here are the reasons why you should wrestle, and just bringing out some of the great ideas on building confidence and discipline and being a part of something. It's also, you can bring up and argue that wrestling now is safer now than it has been, just with, making sure you have your descent plans, and the weight cutting is so much more monitored. So those of you watching tonight that are just trying to get into wrestling for the first time, see what it's all about, minus the bleachers on the other side of the mat, we're looking at a sport that has really come a long way in starting to create the safety, kind of like, heads-up football and all these things, the improvement in tackling. Wrestling has certainly done its fair share to make sure that it remains it really enhances the idea of safety, both on the body and also in injury when it comes to the sport of wrestling.
Absolutely. We enter the final 30 seconds of this second period. A lot of action so far. Pins stood up to escape to tie it 2-2, and then Abe Parker immediately back in on a shot for a 4-2 lead. The Pins up and out again for 4-3 as we enter the final seconds here of this second period. It's a lot of action here at 195.
I remember back in the day when 185 and heavyweight, we were talking about guys that, they were just big guys. Sometimes when the center of gravity took over, it, put you into a position of success or not. And now, with all of the weight rooms, with all of the emphasis on being a multi-sport athlete and the commitment that people are making to it, we are getting into these upper weights, and we're looking at some very, very athletic people. And they're not even the biggest guys from the football team, because the biggest guys on the football team, they don't want to cut weight to be able to wrestle the heavyweight.
Good action here to start the third period. They went neutral. Pins was in on a shot, had the deep elbow. Abe Parker does a really good job of not only defending but getting his elbow back, covers for two. He's got a 6-3 lead here with 80 seconds left.
Very impressive match here as Abe Parker trying to become a known.
There's a good mat return there, and I'll tell you what, before the start of the third period, Abe Parker feeling it a little bit, had his hands on his knees, was breathing a little heavy. Coach Volmecki and Coach Yonk over on the side of the mat for Northwest looked at him and said, hey, go neutral. You're not tired. You could score another takedown. And here we are, 6-3 now, midway through the third period. There he is again. You can tell he's a little bit tired. You can tell it's the first match of the season, but hey, 6-3 lead. He's probably going to feel a little bit better if that score's able to hold through the rest of the match.
Absolutely. And now here you have Coach Volmecki in here trying to talk about why there was a point awarded. But if you take a look, at home you can't see it, but here we can kind of talk you through it. We have Coach Finch trying to get the fans involved, but one of the things that I've noticed is Northwest has their bench involved, and Dowling, they're still kind of sitting back and taking things in. So you don't know if that comes into the experience of coaches, knowing where to push and pull and maybe create a little drama for your team to respond to.
Could also be a little bit of gamesmanship from Volmecki to maybe buy his guy a little bit of extra breathing time.
It could be as well. Not that would ever happen.
We know better than that. Looks like Abe Parker's going to go neutral so that he doesn't maybe get dinged for stalling again. So he'll take a 6-5 lead here into the final minute. Action-packed match here at 195, and the crowd is into it as well. It's getting a little rowdy down there.
He's going to have to start moving forward if he doesn't want to get dinged for a stall.
And if you're Owen Pins, I'll tell you what, man, you got to keep firing, but you got to keep shooting smart, because if you keep your head down, that'll happen there. Abe Parker able to break the lock free, cover for two. He's got an 8-5 lead with 25 to go.
Great job with the sprawl and crossface. These swing matches, as it's seeming every one of them so far has gone Waukee's way, or Northwest way, excuse me. And we're 16 seconds away from another one.
We're seeing the replay now. You saw Owen Pence take the shot, got to the leg initially, but Abe Parker continuing to create action there near the edge of the mat, able to break the lock free, cover for two. Looks like we're still wrestling on our feet here. Pins has Parker near the edge of the mat. Parker defends. We're under 5. He's going to cover for another takedown as time expires. 10-6 win at 195 for Abe Parker. I'll tell you what, he just got another burst of energy so he could flex and celebrate that win. Excellent match there at 195.
Yes, an incredible match by two guys that are going to have success this year.
Another win there for Waukee Northwest. We head to 220. Wolves are up 42-18 as we hit the final 3 matches. So Northwest going to win this match. Going to win this dual meet, excuse me. But Dowling's got some firepower, and I tell you what, if you're Ryek Finch, you kind of want to hope that your team can finish strong here to maybe end on a high note. And no better way to start off the final stretch of a dual meet than with Ralston Rumley, 220, returning state finalist. He'll take on Waukee Northwest Henry Kennedy, a junior. Another one of those guys that, hey, tough first assignment, but let's see what you can do, right?
That's right. Nothing to lose here, everything to gain. I was down in the Dowling camp here before everything started, and I was double-checking to make sure that I had the rankings correct for individuals throughout the state of Iowa. And I said, now, Rumley, number 2, right? They said, yep, number 2. And one of the coaches said, and he's number 2 in the room, too, because I get him every day.
Rumley creating action early. Good head outside shot there. Took Kennedy to the edge and off the mat completely. So we'll restart 30 seconds here into this first period. Tell you what, Ralston Rumley, ranked number 2 right now, took a few losses during the regular season last year. 220 was, Ben Keeter was a state champ there last year, but pretty wide open weight behind him as Rumley covers for a takedown there, an early 2-0 lead. Pretty wide open weight. Rumley entered as the 7 seed, if I remember right. Picks off Valley's Tristan Irvin. Picks off Spencer's Logan Huckfelt. Goes from the 7 seed to the state finals. Excellent, excellent February tournament there from Ralston Rumley. And you can see now, probably gave the kid a ton of confidence as he comes back for his senior season.
Well, yes, he certainly came out on fire tonight. But as we start looking forward to CIML action as this continues, it's going to also set up some great matches between Rumley and Irvin as the season continues on. And I think a lot of people...
As if Valley Dowling isn't already fun enough,
well,
right?
Absolutely.
Rumley kicks Kennedy free here, 2-1 lead with 30 seconds left in this first period. And, we talked about it earlier, taking ground. Can you force your opponent to the edge? Can you force the referee to start paying attention to what they're doing there? And Rumley doing a good job thus far, breaks ties there with 15 seconds left.
Now, Rumley doing a great job setting up that double leg. He did
He goes feet to back there.
And done.
Gets the pin there. Minute 57 seconds. Ralston Rumley looking every bit like the number 2 ranked wrestler in the state tonight.
Absolutely. And one of the things that really helped set that up was the snap down action that he was getting earlier, trying to make sure that he brought Kennedy down and forward. Because it's not just trying to get somebody down. You got to bring them forward to get that center of gravity off balance. And so as Rumley was setting that up with the snap downs, he was able to get that double leg as Kennedy popped back up to...
That's the fun game within the game when you're watching these wrestling matches, right? Rumley comes out with some heavy pressure forward, so Kennedy will pressure back. That allows Rumley to snap a little bit, so then the next time he tries to snap, Kennedy stands up, sets up that easy window there for a shot entry into a double leg. Rumley took advantage not only for the shot, took him feet to back for the pin there.
Absolutely.
We're moving on to heavyweight now. The match you've been excited to see, the match I'm excited to watch. I'm sure everybody here in the gym really thrilled for this one.
The question is, are you ready for number 3 versus number 4?
That's what we've got here now. Heavyweight underway. Waukee Northwest Cale Winter, All-State football player, returning state medalist, against Carson Hagan, another All-State football player, returning state medalist. A lot of talent on the mat right now here for Waukee Northwest and Dowling Catholic.
And just in case anybody was wondering, Winter is also a 55-foot thrower in the shot put. That's a long ways.
Multi-sport athletes. We love those here in the state of Iowa. Carson Hagan, good front headlock here. As 40 seconds passed in the first period. Ref says, nope, let's restart in the center.
Yes, having a match like this early in the season, it's great to have an experienced official like Mr. Chazak out there, making sure that things remain fair all the way through.
It's always fun when you get a match that, probably see in February, but you get it December 1.
Yeah. And it looks like February.
Feels like it, too. Halfway through the first period here. Hagan in on a shot. That was excellent stuff. Able to cover for the takedown. 2-0 lead there for Carson Hagan against Cale Winter.
And now he's working, trying to get that right leg, trying to get inside and maybe pick up Winter's ankle with his own. But he's got some inside control here as he's trying to pop that elbow and maybe work toward a half.
Hagan riding not quite parallel, but tell you what, those Hagan boys, man, they're big. That is,
yes.
Heavyweight goes all the way up to 285, and I don't know that he's that close, but every bit at probably 260.
Well,
sitting on Cale Winter right now.
Right. And, it's the athletic 260. You're looking at somebody that can kind of add some weight and pressure to you, but when it's movement pressure like that too, I can't imagine it feels good.
Carson Hagan, very talented defensive lineman for the Dowling Catholic Maroons. Cale Winter played both offense and defensive line for Waukee Northwest this past fall. So, sure, these guys hand fighting on their feet, trying to create angles, handle leverage. Been doing a lot of that for the last few months.
Winter's trying to get a little down pressure. Hagan trying to prevent the forward pressure, and does. Up
Hagan
quickly and out.
Does a nice little tripod stand-up there. Quick escape gives him a 3-0 lead. We're 15 seconds into the second period here, 285 pounds.
Hagan has kind of exposed a little bit of an opening here, continuing to drop down into that outside single. We'll see if he thinks that's still there as Winter has kind of put that left leg back.
It's the thing, when you get two high-level wrestlers like this, the game within the game, small adjustments like that, and there's another small adjustment. If you're going to lead with your right leg, Carson Hagan says, I'm going to drop to a low-level single. Immediately covers for the finish. 5-0 lead now as we enter the halfway mark of the second period. That was excellent stuff.
A great job and get a stall call. So there's our first warning against Mr. Hagan. He must not like that.
The parallel but not quite parallel ride. Cale Winter up to his feet. Hagan drops to a single. You talk about rules that we see in college that we don't see in high school. Wouldn't mind seeing the count there, but nonetheless, Cale Winter up and out. 5-1 lead for Carson Hagan now. This is where you start to, wonder with two guys like these, elite level athletes all the way, but football lungs and wrestling lungs are different, right? So
very different.
Carson Hagan doing a good job early on with a couple of takedowns, but how's he going to feel as we cross into the second half of the match? And same way, Cale Winter, what you got in that tank, man?
Yeah, this is going to be one of those matchups that is just going to be a lot of fun to watch all season long. And, they're probably going to get the best of each other a couple of different times each of them this year. So
yeah, this will just be the first of many matchups. I expect these guys to see each other quite a bit this year. Second period ends. Carson Hagan a 5-1 lead. Kale Winter's going to go down to start this third period. A little bit of work to do.
Yeah, going back to the depth of the CIML wrestling, you talk to a kid and say, hey, I heard you got second at the state wrestling meet. How did everything else go? And say, well, got fourth at conference and second at districts. And
many talented wrestlers that did not win CIMLs but would go on to win state championships and have a lot of success at some other high-level competitions.
But, going back to what the state wrestling meet's going to look like this year with the addition of 8 wrestlers, making sure that when you go into the 8 district meets, it used to be just the top 2 would go, but now it's going to be the top 3, and you still have to wrestle to a true first, second, and third place finish because the top 8 seeds will automatically be into the round of 16. The next 16 wrestlers are going to have to compete to get into the round of 16, but the expansion to 24 is going to help make sure that some pretty highly ranked wrestlers don't stay home after a loaded field in your district lineups.
Under a minute left here in this heavyweight match. Carson Hagen hanging on to that 5-2 lead, doing a good job of hand fighting here to keep Kale Winter at bay. Kale was working with a 2-on-1 earlier. Carson Hagen did well defending it. I'll tell you what, if you're Kale Winter, 35 seconds left, you're going to have to go, man. You got a little bit of work to do.
Yeah, a little more leaning now than there was. There's a shot attempt by Winter, but Hagen.
There's a good shot, and not the best cover, but nice reaction there from Carson Hagen.
Yeah.
Another takedown now gives him a 7-2 lead. With the final 15 seconds now on the clock. Kale Winter up and not quite out. Hagen will cover, and it looks like that'll be the final score. A second straight win for Dowling Catholic here. 7-2, Carson Hagen over Kale Winter. Battle of top 5 wrestlers. Always fun to get a treat like that first meet of the season.
A lot of fun. And it's going to be a great season of wrestling ahead watching those 2 guys go.
Final match of the night, we're going to flip back over to 106 pounds. Dowling Catholic's Wyatt Heffron, a junior at 106 pounds, ranked 12th in the state by IA Russell. He will wrestle a freshman, Tanner Drahim, first year in the Northwest lineup. A little bit of an unknown, but hey, no better time than now.
That's right. And you realize that as fun as this is going to be, you won't ever have to wrestle the guys that just wrestled before you. 285 down to 106 is quite a disparity.
Oh, it makes me think of Jay Borschel from Linmar, 4-time state champ way back when. Won his freshman state title at 103 back when that was the weight, and won his last one, I believe, at 189.
Yes,
maybe
89
or 71.
Can change when you're in high school, but
quick couple of takedowns here for Heffron. 4-1 lead, just 20 seconds in, and junior against a freshman, you're going to see a little bit of that age gap sometimes, and it looks like we're seeing it tonight.
When you're in a situation like Heffron is, you're take down and let him go, take down and let him go. One of the things that you have to make sure is that you actually do let him go, because if Graham doesn't take a position to neutral, you're not awarded the point yet.
Yeah, you have to make sure they officially, it sounds weird, I know, for those who may not pay as much attention as we do, but they have to literally escape your grasp and your control in order to gain the point, so then you can go back to it. Heffron doing a good job of that so far. 5 takedowns in the opening 70 seconds for a 10-4 lead.
So now he's actually trying to set up that half Nelson, and he's getting one. If he can get that left shoulder by Drahim pinned down against the side.
This is where you want to see him get away from that parallel ride and get out to the side and run it.
Yeah.
But hey.
Which for young wrestlers is a scary thing to do, for leaving the comfort of riding parallel to get out to the side which he's done now, and he's got him stacked up.
There he gets off to the side. A pin there for Wyatt Heffron in 1 minute and 43 seconds. 3 straight wins there for Dowling Catholic to end tonight's duel. But it's Waukee Northwest who will walk away the victors, 42-33. Excellent duel here tonight. We will take a short break, come back and wrap up the action that we watched tonight. You're watching CIML Wrestling on CISN TV.
1,300 vehicles on WaukeeChevy.com. Schottenkirk Chevy Waukee. If we don't have it, you can build it. Newly expanded service department means we're hiring. See the openings on WaukeeChevy.com. Schottenkirk Chevy Waukee. WaukeeChevy.com.
We are so much more
than an energy company.
We are connectors,
community protectors, and clean energy leaders.
We are
job creators,
friends and neighbors, stewards of your dollars and savings. Yes, we
are so much more.
We are the energy
behind your everyday.
And we are
obsessively,
relentlessly
at your service.
I'm off to college. Oh, rats!
Hi, Joe the Car Guy with a reminder. Before you send your kids off to school, set up an appointment with Westside Auto. We check everything from tires to belts, fluids, hoses, wipers, and lights. 44 inspection points to help prevent that oh rats moment for your students. Call us today to set up your appointment. We'll have your kids off to school saying,
for the best, head west.
Westside Auto.
Ever have one of those awkward moments when a business disappointed you? You got ripped off? Didn't get what you expected? The Better Business Bureau can help you avoid these uncomfortable situations. BBB accredited businesses are honest, ethical, and reviewed annually by the BBB. Don't experience another awkward moment with a bad business. Trust the ones that operate with integrity. Look for the BBB seal. It's the sign of a better business. And find a better business anytime at bbb.org.
We all love a good win, however small or ordinary. Losing track of time, finding yourself with a few extra dollars in your pocket, soaking up the perfect Iowa day. These are the everyday delights and small victories that make us smile. These are the moments that connect us all as Iowans. And these are the moments that, more often than not, start with Iowa's farm families and the corn they're growing. Because when corn grows Iowa, Iowans win.
Welcome back to Dowling Catholic High School, CISN TV, bringing you CIML Wrestling Week 1 of the 22-23 season. Cody Goodwin and Keith Borness here. 42-33 final, Waukee Northwest. A little bit closer than, maybe it felt early on. Waukee Northwest ends up taking 8 of the 14 matches, 5 of them by pins, scored another 16 points by forfeit. Dowling Catholic rallied, 5 wins in the final 7 matches, scored 5 pins themselves, won the final 3 bouts. Coach, what are we taking away from this first meet of the season?
Well, number one, I'm going to take away that both coaches really knew what they were getting into tonight, because I was talking to Coach Volmecki, and he said, we have to have those swing matches. We got to have those guys come out, step up, and get it done. Otherwise, it is going to be a battle to the end. And if we give up 1 or 2 of those, it's going to be a struggle. And so you commend him for knowing what he was getting into, but you also take a look at what Ryek Finch has done here with Dowling, creating a culture that is fight and just keep going. And one of the things that he talked about early on was, I want my guys to always be on the offensive. And it didn't matter what match they were in. You could see that culture is kind of taken on. They're going to be on the offensive. And so those would be the 2 things that I kind of took away. Both guys knowing where they're at and creating the culture that they both want in their programs.
Absolutely. Excellent duel overall. Waukee storming out to an early lead with 6 wins in the first 7 matches, 5 pins in that stretch, take a commanding lead, but Dowling inched their way back to make it close. And you mentioned those swing matches. Waukee Northwest won a big one at 138. Lincoln Hutt pinning Zeb Fitzgerald. And then 95, that was one of maybe the most entertaining match of the night, right? Abe Parker coming out victorious 10-6 over Owen Pins. Scored a handful of takedowns there, even while giving up a few stall calls here and there. But ultimately, it's the Wolves that prevail. Excellent duel here to start the 22-23 season. Always fun when wrestling season's back around. It's only December 1st, Coach. We've got a lot of wrestling left to watch these next few months, and what a tone setter this one was here between the Wolves and the Maroons.
A great night of wrestling. It's looking to be a great season of wrestling. So tune in to CISN as much as you can this year.
Absolutely. Back regularly on Thursday nights. Hopefully we'll be back again next week at a really exciting one. Probably share those details at a later date. But we appreciate you tuning in tonight for Coach Borness and the entire CISN TV crew. I'm Cody Goodwin. Appreciate you tuning in. Talk to you again soon.